Good evening and welcome to Pain to Power. I am Maria Cosme, also known as Brown Girl Interrupting, and we are always here on this show, Pain to Power, learning how to find ourselves, our healing, and our power in order to lead others. Welcome. This show is brought to you in association with the iRant Network. And today I want to share with you actually that in addition to Pain to Power, I'm also a writer. And in particular, I took a little bit of a hiatus from my writing for a while. It's been quite a few months since I wrote, but today I sat down and I wrote again because I have been inspired by the smallest person in my life, my daughter, who is 7 years old, Kaya. She's amazing. And she's also an inspiration. In a lot of ways, I am learning so much about being a woman, but also being just a person through her. So I'm going to read a little bit of excerpt for you of this post that's coming out. And I want you to make sure that you go right now or even after the show and find my blog and subscribe. Put your email in so you get all of my latest posts as I will be continuing to write again and share my story. So this is called Inhale Confidence and Exhale Doubt. In the last 5 years, my daughter has been the one constant person in my life. Without even knowing it, Kai has been the calm to my internal storm. It's been this way since she was born, but in the past year, our relationship has deepened even more. She has this way of knowing just what to say in the moment that changes the energy and my perspective. Kaya is the gift the universe bestowed on me amid the constant challenges I have been thrown. So when there are moments where she is going through anything, I am ready to be her rock and the adult she can count on to support her emotionally and mentally. Both of us were put to the test on this a few Wednesdays ago. That's a little teaser. Make sure you go to the blog and subscribe and find out more on my post called Inhale Confidence and Exhale Doubt. And that is part of my journey, is continuing to constantly find those lessons and the people that are going to help me grow and learn. So I'm really excited to introduce my guest today, who is U.S. Army retired First Sergeant in Gregory Alexander. And he is going to be sharing his journey of pain to power and how now he is leading with love. So welcome, Gregory.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Greg. How's your evening going?
It's going. Just here, cleaning up, doing a whole bunch of house stuff. The single dad things, and just trying to make things good for the holidays. But holidays are probably the worst time of year. Everything's rushing, traffic is hectic, everybody's out there on the road. So I just rather stay in.
Safer to stay in for sure, and you have some time with being retired. That does help, I imagine, a little bit, right? Which is awesome. And salute, Tennessee Williams. Welcome. And good night to all. Salute, chat and Brown. Oh, thank you so much, and appreciate everyone tuning in, especially my ranters fam. So yeah, salute to you, Greg, for being on here. And I know that you and I met and started really kind of connecting on this idea of identity and the idea of this journey of figuring out ourselves. So today we're going to kind of get more into that. But before I do, I always invite everybody here to talk about what pain to power is to you, as it's such a personal journey. And welcome to Jackie Cran. Hello. So for you, Greg, what do you think of when you think of pain to power?
Wow. Well, pain to power. I would say from the beginning is I wouldn't even call it pain anymore. Being where I'm at now, I would call it an uncomfortable situation in which the universe put me in, and it opens your mind to learn. Some of us take forever to learn. Some people are just not ready to receive that message yet. But as we're here and things are going on in life, you're like, oh my God, this thing is really messed up for me now, and this is the worst timeline ever, yada yada. But just because you're uncomfortable, it just opens your mind more. To me, I'm a little bit of a hippy dippy into the spirituality thing, and so I think that all things are divine that happens to you, and it just makes you to a stronger person, stronger man. For myself, understanding how the world works, and you do step into your power. So it's uncomfortable situations that is the universe puts on you, and it's just made for you to learn and understand why you're into that situation, and just get motivated and get out of it and understand and be ready to learn. But the good thing about it is that to learn, some people are like, oh man, like me, I'm 48. Like, oh, 48, man, and when did I learn this? Like yesterday. So um,
Yeah, yeah.
people still go up until they're 90 years old and still hasn't learned yet. They still are just blocking themselves and opening their eyes to what's going,
Mm.
being able to pull themselves out of the matrix and be able to see things on a different level for themselves and people around them, and understand that we're all the same. But we all have our different superpowers. Though we're like X-Men. Yeah, somebody shoots some stuff out of their eyes, the next person should get stronger. Or probably you're just one of those X-Men that just spit some sort of acid, and that's just about it. But it's still a
Depending
superpower.
on who you are and what your strength is.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Nothing
but I
to
love
be
that.
afraid.
I love that because it is about the discomfort, right? It's okay to be uncomfortable, and that we all are having our own ways of coming with it. And I think of when you said that, that reminded me of just a recent conversation I had with my 21-year-old son, and just thinking about this idea that life is happening for us, not to us, right? So just
Mm,
embracing that idea of that uncomfortable as a way to learn from it, which is a beautiful way to frame pain. But
mm,
I do want to, help the audience understand a little bit more about some of the things that really got you to this mentality, because this was a journey. This has been a journey. And let's go back a little bit and just, our conversation really started in terms of identity. And I know that that's something that you all your life have been in this space of trying to understand. So how do you identify? What has been your journey in understanding yourself just as an individual, but as a racial identity?
well, yeah, that for me has been uh, a road. Being able to be comfortable in my melanation. And the reason for that is because I'm a half breed, I'm mixed. My mother's from India, my father is Jamaican, Ethiopian, and Ghanaian, my father. So, but my father was kind of like out, didn't really get to know that side on the black side of the family, but just more on the Indian side. And just like how when we met up there at the mutual friend's wedding, and we stood there, and I'm like, oh, wow, and everybody's Indian there, and it's part of my culture too. But I remember growing up was within the Indian household, there's a lot of colorism that goes on. So I just didn't know where I stood. I was growing up because my hair was really straight and little curls and stuff like that. They used to call me, Habibi and stuff like that in high school. So I wasn't black enough for the black, and I wasn't
Mm.
Indian enough for the Indians. So, but I still made my own curry, and I still did all the same kind of things and traditions. And but at the home, it's like, oh, you're too dark, you're too black, stay out of the sun. So I didn't know where I fit in. It was just very anxiety. I just was very reclusive, introverted at the time. And as I grew, and a lot of abuse from my on my mother's side. So I was a lot of beatings, a lot of this, a lot of that, just because I looked like my father, kind of thing. She actually admitted that to me later on in life,
Mm.
and apologized for it. So that way we are able to move on and close doors and close traumas, and be able to start fresh on a whole new level, and being able to love each other to that limit that we love each other to death, and we're like this close, and she cooked and this and that. I go over there and it's I love you and I love you back. So just coming here, being here in the States, the first generation as myself, born here with um, old Caribbean Indian influences, not understanding the complexities of the United States and the social norms and everything else. So I was just out of it. I didn't know where I stood. But I just knew one thing, that I I guess in our heads we are in a baseline of ourselves. With I don't think that most of us, as the ages as we're up, we're still have this baseline of yourself, of who you are. My baseline was always stuck in compassion, more of a like, even though that, I was homeless and all this other stuff, and it was always based out of compassion and love for my fellow people around me. Because I don't know, at that time, before I got deeper into spirituality, I always felt connection with everybody around me. I never wanted anything to happen to
Mm.
anybody around me, no matter what my situation was. But then as I got older and got more into my spirituality, I understood that we're all the same. Our energies are from one source. So just because we're at a different meat suit, we're still all from that same one source. I always say our brain is like the most advanced radio receiver to be able to um, translate consciousness into our body. So the brain is not
Mm.
conscious. The brain is just something to translate and be able to interpret the zeros and ones into being able to move here. But consciousness and energy is separate from the brain. But that brain is so complex that it's able to receive that consciousness. But yeah, I
Well,
mean,
and I,
it's go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
was just say, I think that that to get there though, like whatever you're interpreting through your brain, right? You're still that consciousness requires you to have a mindset to see it from the perspective you're seeing it. Like you're saying that you believe in compassion, you believe in caring for people, all of those things. But I think that that mentality doesn't naturally always come from children who have been harmed by the adults in their life. So there's something that's led you to always have that, which is powerful. Which so I guess in that, I imagine maybe your relationship with your mother being healed has helped to get you there. But like, what was it that allowed you and your mom to get to the place that you have in kind of reconciling some of those things from your childhood?
I would say time away from her, even though that, at 15, I left my home. I was kicked out. My mother and father broke up, and it was a whole big fiasco. I was kicked out, and I was riding the E train from Parsons Boulevard to old school Chambers Street, old World Trade Center. So I used to sleep on that train and just go back and forth, get jumped, all this stuff, all the New York things. Get jumped, somebody's dealing drugs on the train cart, you get beat up in there, somebody's smoking on one side. So it was very hectic. You wanted to get out of that, eating out of garbage cans. But the thing was, as I was going through it, it's just, I don't know, I was always had this thing that I didn't want to hurt him. Like, I would have friends that's like, yo, let's go over here and let's get this, get these drugs, things, this and that, and do this gun run. And I always thought to myself, drugs destroy people, gun runs, nobody gets killed. And then I was just thinking, like, all of a sudden this mafia guy comes to me and asks me to steal cars. So I'm like, well, that's like a victimless kind of crime. Like the insurance will cover it, you know.
So if you have to
So
choose a crime,
yeah,
okay.
but as I'm doing it, it's just mentally, I just could not think of hurting anybody or just no matter. I don't get me wrong. I had a lot of friends that became very stone cold killers and through the same experiences, and I often do wonder what influences changed me, like kept me on that track rather than just letting it all go and just be swallowed up by the streets kind of thing.
Mm.
So wanted to go to school. I just got my GED, went to school, and off the money that I stole cars with. So I was in college, Binghamton University, and every year I'd get have to come back to New York, steal more cars to make more money to go back to college. So I just knew I was going to get caught one of these days. So that's when I just decided to just join the army at that point, about 20 years old, and
Mm.
from there learned to be on my own by myself, away from all those influences and things like that. Made some fantastic, great brothers and sisters. I can't even call them friends anymore. They're just we're just so close knit and understanding different cultures and things. It was the most beautiful thing to just get out of this bubble. And I guess that's what really got me into a point of like, I'm going to do it this way instead of doing it that way. And
Hmm.
I was a soldier, but not a soldier. Soldier, but not a soldier, if that makes sense. I wasn't in the
So,
Gulf.
well, tell me more about that. So, I see a lot of people in the chat. Let's get to this a little bit. And then, Logic and Friends says, I'm glad you drove them stolen cars down the road less traveled. LOL. But seriously, you have to turn your negatives into a positive. I get you, Bravo. So, I appreciate that. And Adept Marshall, welcome. Says Truth, welcome. And thank you for your service. Yes, thank you for your service. I I think that's it's an interesting path, right? But that's true, like what Jess says, right? Turn your negativity into that positivity, and there's something that kept you going. But so I have to ask though, because the army is such a different environment, though, also than a lot of the other environments that you've been in, right? Like, so was there anything you needed to reconcile about that shift for yourself in the culture of the army and in the ways that things were?
I was a rogue person, I guess, in the army. Like I said, I was a soldier, but I wasn't a soldier. I know you see these things on Marines and how their mind state is, or either how they're brainwashed into certain things. Structure is very well in theory, but when it comes to practical, actually implementations on things, people and their egos get into the way and forget what leadership is and how to treat their fellow person instead of just everybody. It's a nonlinear path with people when you're speaking to them, especially as a leader. So that's why I never fell into that. Hey, I probably yelled 3 or 4 times my whole career at somebody, and I
Wow.
wasn't and I wasn't even angry. I was just wanted to light a fire. And so and
And this was
people,
as a leader within the army, so you were
yeah,
like overseeing others, and
yeah, like yell probably 3 or 4 times the most. Everybody was way better receptive to, way more receptive to me understanding them. So the empath in me kind of really, really shined in the army to make me be successful there. Even though I did go against the grain with, oh, just tell him this, Sergeant. Just tell him that, Sergeant. Just tell him to go and just do it and shut the hell up, Sergeant. And I respect people way more than that. And if they signed on that dotted line and raised their right hand in there, they're men and women, not children. And
mm,
respect is a two-way street. Just because I wear the stripes and you're supposed to respect me doesn't mean I'm not supposed to respect you. So there were
mm,
kids in that were just, and the beautiful thing was that the experiences that I had and went through I was able to connect more with people that were going through the same experiences in their lives and be able to give them the positive nudge they needed in order to go and move forward and pull themselves out of it. And it's so easy to spot the fake the fake ones, like, oh, from the streets, I'm from here, I'm from there. And I'm like, bro, if you're really from the streets, you wouldn't claim the streets anymore, because the streets will beat the living crap out of you. And you don't see Jay-Z living in the streets. Kanye is not living out there. Like, it's there. Yes, we have this whole media hyping it up, and kids just never been in a situation in their lives ready to go like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? This person is this, that person is that. I'm gonna claim over here. Like, dude, that means you've never been in the streets. You just glorify it in your mind. But I guarantee
mm.
if you actually been in there, you wouldn't want to go back, and you would rather just run out of there like hell. So, and those are the myths. So when I see soldiers like that, that's how I speak to them. I just speak to them like a man to a woman, because I've had, many female, male soldiers and everything from all walks of life, and being able to connect with them as a leader to make sure that they don't follow, go back and follow. This is to better yourself. And if we don't like the army, and I didn't, but if we don't like the army or the way that they were doing things and things like that, you don't have to engulf yourself in that mind state. You don't have to. You could just use it as your stepping stone, whatever you want to do as far as free colleges and all this other stuff, and plan the path and just go through the fire by just being like, yeah, I'm here. Good morning, blah, blah, blah. and then go home and get your benefits and do what you need to do to better yourself in life. And that was always something that I opened up to them, rather than you have to reenlist, you have to stay in, you have to stay in kind of thing. No, live your life, just be a better being, a better person, better energy in this world, and be more. So we all help each other. That's what we're here for.
That's true. So leading others to help themselves, but that's huge, and I think that's big. How much of yourself did you learn through that process?
Wow. Well, I wish I could say that I learned it really fast, but it didn't. It was just very all confusing to me at first. And I didn't understand myself, or where I stood. What was I good at? What was everything that, I was really good at understanding the dynamics of it and how to get promoted and how to move up and how to do all these other things. But I embraced that I was the oddball, and and that was it. I was just the oddball out that thought differently. I just thought as a human being how the good old golden rule, just the good old
Mm,
golden body else around you, and ended up being very successful at it. Thank goodness. And the I would have different soldiers that nobody wanted. That was the worst soldiers. Oh my God, I can't deal with this soldier anymore. And I'd take them, and they would turn around just by talking to them normally as human beings, and end up being physical training studs. They're doing crazy on their PT test all of a sudden, and they're showing up on time for everything. They're doing their thing because they wanted to come in just so we can have just our. And they didn't have to fear an interaction with me. So it was like, oh my
wow.
God, that guy. So the
So
big
that,
thing I think was to give that shock and awe to them. It's like if a leader is yelling every day, "Shut up, soldier! Get over here!" Blah 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 blah. Next day, "Shut up, soldier!" Blah 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 blah. And oh my God! And so they get into this. So now the soldier is like, "Oh, there they go yelling again. There they go." Yeah, it loses the effect. Completely loses the effect, because now your yelling is just a normal thing. So, but
mm,
if I talk to them normally, and just be who I am and share wisdom with them, and certain things that I've learned, and then at that point, if I ever yelled at one point, that's when everybody's like, "Oh my God, Sergeant Alexander is yelling!" They start turning wrenches. Like, who made him mad? He's never mad. He never yelled. Oh my God, So that little shock and awe is what I need when I want them to actually move and do their things, but I don't use that every day, because then I'll lose the effectiveness.
oh, that makes so much sense. And I think it's so counterintuitive sometimes to how, I would say, how I picture the military in general, but often how it's portrayed and how kids see it, or how, young adults going into the military perceive that to be. So in that, like, you choosing to be so different as a leader, was there pushback for you from others of, like, at the same levels as you, or did you see like that became a challenge for you to exist within the culture of the army in that way?
At the beginning, I just wanted to treat people the way I wanted to be treated. So I always thought as a leader, well, as a soldier before, as a junior soldier, before I got in my leadership position, that I always thought, like, man, I wouldn't want to treat anybody like that guy's treating them. And that just injected into me that, I just want to treat people the way I wanted to be treated and being taken care of as a soldier. And you have the power and verbiage to make things happen. So I was like, man, give me that power and I'll use it this way. So there's a lot of people that
Mm.
use that power on different ways, and I don't know if they were bullied or what. I don't know if they bullied more than me. I was jumped a million times and beaten and stabbed and all that other stuff in the streets. So, so I still didn't want to go in there and start bossing people around us because some people beat me up before. So it is for me. It was a road that I needed to do, and I didn't know I needed to do it then. And I don't regret it, because it helped me so much in either speaking and able to get out of my introvertness and being able to get extroverted, knowing that things that I say or how I articulate myself by having so much practice in front of so many different people and teaching classes and sexual harassment and assault response program courses and all these different things and having a bunch of people, so I got pulled out of that. But other people, they used to come to me, like I say, a command sergeant major or a colonel or something like that. Like, oh, Sergeant Alexander, you need to do this. And I'm like, well, we're still the number one platoon in the whole entire battalion. So I don't know what I need to change. I think they just looked at me as how is he just so happy and calm? That was my big thing. I think I got voted as the most even keel, calm person in my company at the time. I was like, oh, really? I am. Like, nobody pisses you off. And if you get pissed off, that's some weird stuff to even see. And so it was weird.
That's a
Just
very impressive role, like position to have, right? And John Legend says stab though.
yeah,
Did that happen as well? Okay, and Jackie Cran really. So there's a lot of shock going on here in the audience. But I think that's a really it's an interesting place to be because not a lot of people can say that one, and I think particularly not a lot of men can stand on that because oftentimes one of the things that you don't see as much is the reinforcement of that emotional intelligence. Like what you're talking about is emotional intelligence, right? It's regulation. It's that ability to be able to know yourself well enough to recognize when you're putting your emotions on someone else versus recognizing what they need from you, that humanity, right? And you keep talking about that in all the different ways that you've made that clear. So I guess with that and that mentality, there's a lot of mindset shifts that you've made, it sounds like, that have helped you to stay in your power and lead in that way with love. Um, what was that path of kind of that shift of spirit to spirituality for you? Like, where did that start to align for you
um,
in your guidance?
um, just well, I've heard about it and going through different things and also um, like going to different countries and when you start looking for these religious experiences and the carry on of for whatever traditions your family tried to bestow on you and all these quotes and things like that. So then when you go to places like say Germany or and you live there for a while and this culture is so much older than ours, and like I say, it's like if you're here in the United States and somebody gives you a mug from 1809, you're like, oh my god, this mug is from this is old. But nah, if you go to Germany, they're like, this mug is from year 6, and you're like, oh my god, like that's old. So you then start seeing different things, different relics. My position in psychological operations also opened my eyes to what the government does and how the government operates and how they do have so much. Geez, how can I say this? They do have so much invested in spirituality. Um, our government. So, I mean, you can look around everywhere. You'll see symbols on everything from your dollar to a coin to the Department of Justice. If you walk out and see every single piece of symbolism in there, even from the Ankh to a bunch of different things of past times. So it's funny when people are like, "Oh, we're America, Christian country." I know, yeah, the people that are running it is not as Christian as you think they are, but those are things that I've seen firsthand. So with that, it's like it kind of does spark you to be like, there's something more. You start going into Germany, you start seeing these old relics that they told me to get and get, and you see them, you start researching them, and you see all the connections, and then all of a sudden I start seeing everything as one, whether it's Muslim, whether it's Buddhism, whether it's Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, all of these things, and you start seeing the baseline pattern of what they're talking about, of that they're all the same. They just started getting translated differently later on, so that's when it sparked it off. really big for me. So I started looking into that because they do believe in vibration. They do believe in hell. We have weapons that does that, and different vibrations that does different things to your body. So
Mm. Hmm.
it's it's well known. I just don't think that the populace here knows it, and I think the reason why there was this research done with what was it, monkeys. So they'll have like 10 monkeys in a room and a ladder, right? And they would put the bananas on top of the ladder. So the monkey would go running up the ladder, and then they'll spray all of the monkeys with ice cold water. So every time the monkeys started noticing that every time somebody tried to go up the ladder, they'll get sprayed down with this ice cold water. So then, if a monkey tries to go up and get the bananas, all the other monkeys would rush and beat the crap out of that monkey. Be like, "No, don't go up this ladder. We're gonna get
Mm.
sprayed." But what they did was they started replacing the monkeys until all those same 10 monkeys are all replaced with new monkeys, but they integrated them very slowly. And these 10 monkeys that never knew about getting sprayed with water would beat up the one monkey just because he's going on the ladder. They don't even know why they're doing it. So
Mm.
that's what I kind of relate to what those are. We're so stuck in these certain kind of traditions and things that are passed down that we just don't know why we follow them anymore, or why we do it, or you force yourself to make sense of it. And if you're forcing yourself to make sense of something, that means it just doesn't make any sense. So
Yeah.
I went to, and that's how I started getting deeper and delving into my spirituality, vibration, our connection to the universe, our sentient feeling with everything else around us. So I guess I was like this hippie soldier at one point, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're always talking about these things and the trees and the tree." And I'm like, "The tree is probably more higher consciousness than you are. You just don't even know it." "Oh, get out of here, blah blah blah." And then we'll have these long conversations with soldiers all the time, but it's funny that that some of my old soldiers, not some, a lot of them actually one day I had like three old soldiers. One of them was still in getting out, and two of them were out, and they were, a lot younger. They used to call me dad, and oh, Zeus. It's a long story. They said like because they're like, "Oh my God, it's Zeus," and they'll do all this stuff. They'll do some stupid stuff like soldiers do. And very dark. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, we're very dark comedy kind of thing, and we make fun of each other on a daily. And if you have thin skin, you're not gonna make it. But soldiers call me and they just tell me like, "Hey, Dad, what's going on? You still want to adopt somebody?" And whether it be suicidal thoughts and ideations, they'll call me and we'll sit and we'll just talk. Or either other soldiers that doesn't know how to get out right, and how to get all of their benefits together, and start helping them, mentoring them. So the job is not done because I'm retired, but and and like I said, they're my brothers and sisters, and I'm gonna be there. So if whatever they need, whether if they're on their last dollar and they feel like they want to end it all, call me, and we'll talk. And I'm not beyond reproach with that, because I've had those thoughts too, and I understand it, and I'm there, and I knew how I pulled myself out, and I'm there for them for that too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that you build a lot of trust with people, it's clear, and that you elevate the importance of that trust in the relationship. So you're able to push people in their thinking, which is a really important skill set, and really an important aspect of leading. And it sounds like you've been able to make that an effective way to impact and support the people that you were overseeing and that were under your responsibility. So that's huge. That is really huge. I see a lot of folks in our chat. I just want to give a shout out. I saw some of our Ranters fam, V Smiles TV. Salute V. So good to see you. I love dark comedy. Gets their shit. That's the truth, right? Like, that's the truth. Sometimes we have a little bit of darkness in us. And I think spirituality is embracing both the light and the dark for certain. And Dialogic says, when in doubt, live without. That's right. So I mean, like, I feel like all of this is like intersecting from your past to your present, right? Like, so how has your understanding through, through childhood, through your experience of being homeless, to the army, to leading in the army, all of these pieces helped you to get to understand yourself even better as in your like identity, like that struggle of and I think, you and I have talked about this before, because part of my whole thing of being brown girl interrupting is the confusion of the brown. Right. And I have a lot less confusion than you, right? And a lot more understanding of it. But yet at the same time, like you said, we met at an Indian wedding, and it wasn't an entirely Indian wedding. It was a mixed wedding of two friends, one who is white and one is Indian. But it was a very Indian ceremony. And I know, like, as we were talking, like, that was really your first ever Indian wedding. So, like, just maybe let's start there. What was that experience like, watching and experiencing an Indian wedding for the first time as a 48-year-old man who is from the culture?
Well, that being the first one, and I've been to, like, say, uh, other things with family members. Like, I have an aunt years ago that passed away in Florida, and she's full Indian, my mother's sister. And so she is. So when I went down there for the first time and seen it, it's like, all of a sudden I saw all these Indian families, like, yeah, and they're like, "Hello there," and I was like, "Oh crap!" They have the accent and everything, and I didn't know that we were that deep into the Indian realm, and that kind of surprised me. But so it was more of an embracement, and then with the wedding was a beautiful embracement. Actually, I'm so comfortable in my skin now. Other than hiding from the sun when I was younger, to loving the sun for my melanation and the beauty behind it and who I am. So, seeing that, and then connecting with other Indian in the family and everything else, and the talks that we've had, which was very crazy talks, but I enjoyed it so much, and really, to a point, it was like, wow, this is going to end soon. So, but it was such a beautiful experience, and I wouldn't trade that one for anything in the world.
Oh, that's cool. That's very beautiful. And I think that that it's a constant journey of evolution. I don't think it's one and done, right? Like, knowing who you are and understanding yourself as a racial being is so much layers to it. And Envy Smiles is in here saying, it is important for young men. Is it important for young men to join the army today? That's a great question. I've got a kid in the process of that myself. So, and Jackie Kran says, love it. So what do you think? Do you think it's important for young men to join the army today?
Oof, you're asking the wrong former soldier on that one.
And a recruiter, right? So you also
I'm
have that as
recruiter
you
too. Yeah,
you were bringing young men and women
yeah.
into the army yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the recruiting world too was very lucrative, because I was actually recruiting back home in New York. I selected New York. I wondered why they just gave it to me so quickly, but they hated New York because they said that's like so overly liberal, and there's no way these people are going to join the army. But then um, I just seeked out the same kind of people. Like, I would just ride the subway, and the subway was free if I'm in uniform. And I used to just ride the subway, and for some reason, it's like the spidey senses go off, and I can tell that there's a young man or woman in there that was going through the same stuff that I was going through. So then I'll just talk to them, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're a soldier?" I'm like, "Yeah, what are you up to?" And I wouldn't even talk about the army. What are you doing, man? How's everything going for you? Blah blah blah. What do you have? And then I'll pitch it in, because I'm like, "Yo, this would be a good thing. You don't even have to do it for 6 or 20 years. Do it for 3 years. Get off here. Get out of the train. Get a skill. Have free college. Be known as a veteran. Get your thing. Do 3 years. Get out and go handle business when you get out." So that's the pitch I have for them. As far as my thought of the army for young men, um, like I said, I'm so out of the matrix right now, and the army really pulled me out of the matrix of being in psychological operations psyops and seeing how the government runs. and how we things you see on CNN, missions that I've been on that made CNN was a complete wrong story of what that mission was. And but see, people have this weird cognitive dissonance that doesn't listen to the people that actually is there. They'd rather listen to CNN over. I'm like, but if you look at CNN and you look in the background, that's me standing right there. I know what happened on that mission because I actually came up with the whole entire operation order for that mission. And they're like, nope, CNN said this. So people need to pull themselves out of the matrix. Then they'll see if it's really worth it for these young men and women to go and do what they do, unless some of them really have this history. Because tell you the truth, I wouldn't want my son or daughter to join or do
Hmm.
anything. I've done that legwork, and they have their free college, they have their this, they have their that, and right now my daughter is 22 and she's going for her RN and college is paid for. I went through the storm for you. You don't have to do that.
Hmm.
And the government is just yeah. I Like I said, I'm the wrong person to ask for if there was a young.
Well, but you're the honest person to ask. So I think that's actually a great response, right? It's a really honest response that not everybody's going to give. And Visma says, I have veterans in my family. They have incredible structure and discipline, and that's a benefit too, right? So I wonder if sometimes even it's like who is built to be in the army, and maybe not everybody is, right?
Nobody, yeah,
And
that's
Rita's
the
kitchen, welcome, Rita. That would be the wedding we attended. What about the men who aren't as lucky to find their way back into the ease of life and just have trouble reintegration into the social system? Do you have any spiritual guidance for them?
well. First of all, the the younger guys. I would say this in my experience with a lot of people that's been in for a while. Usually, the 17 and 18-year olds that came in and then do like say 25 years and then get out, they have the biggest issue in reintegrating with society because their whole entire adult life they've been in this structure. I mean, I joined up probably about
Mm.
21, and then I had a break in service. I came home for about a year or so, and for a little bit, and then I went back in after 9/11. But the just the kids today, and not even today, I would say, those guys had the biggest issue in reintegrating back into society. I've never had that issue because I just never succumbed to that kind of brainwashing world.
Mhm, mhm.
That oh my God, America, 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 oh my God, yeah, America, we got to do that. We got to fight them over there so they don't come over here. That those whole thoughts, and they that is about the most polarizing uh, news or propaganda that they use to try and keep you in there or going in. These kids say, I mean, they play Call of Duty and they think it's like that. And I'm like, no. And I would tell them, like, so will I go to war? Yeah, you will go to war. This is called the armed services. So I don't know what else you'd think would happen if you joined the armed services to protect the country. Yes, you go to war. So don't ask me if you're not going to go to war. It's not one of those things. But I don't. Uh, Sergeant majors that retire after like 30 years, as soon as they retire, they get out, and the statistic is within 2 years they die. So this is this huge reintegration thing. It is a huge problem. No matter how much classes they give you to come out and reintegrate, their
Yeah.
people's mind state learns differently in order for acceptance here back in the world. Just don't lose who you are. You just go play the game and keep
Well,
yourself inside.
and I think there's a lot of issues in mental health, right? In the playing the game piece, right?
Oh,
And not being conscious and recognizing that there are messages that you have to be a little bit more critically aware of. And I think Josh said it also, right? That cognitive dissonance is real, right?
mhm.
Uh, so And that's really it's powerful and it's complex. Um, but I also want to kind of ask because you've taken all this and you are retired, which is great. You have a lot of different projects, but there's one in particular that you've been working on that I would love for you to share a little bit more about because I think it's starting to kind of pull people out of that matrix, right? That you're looking to help people to move from that matrix belief
Yeah.
system and find a little bit more truth. What is it that you're developing that's connected to that in Jamaica right now?
Well, Jamaica is very near and dear to me. I didn't even know I was born here until I was 15 years old. So I was when I was born here, and then 2 months old, I was sent to Jamaica to live, and I've lived out my childhood in Jamaica. And but it's not just regular Jamaica, like city Jamaica. I was in the country, um, getting water from wells and carrying it on your head, and chicken coops, outhouse, and that kind of thing. So it was a very stuck in time area that I'm from. Right now, the development is starting with a new road there, but it's still very stuck in time. And I'm from a little village called Arcadia in St. Thomas, and that little village is encompassed of a lot of my family, especially a lot of the Indians family, which is our family names are Badgenut, Sukai, and Bagwandas, and they encapsulate that little village there next doors and everything else. So, what my plan is after one visit that I've been down there, because everybody was so beautiful. Like I haven't been down there in like years, and people people out there came to me and was just like, "Hey, is that you?" Because I have this scar on my face that from when I was a child, I got it down there. So they all know me. And even though I don't really remember some of them and some I
Mm-hmm.
do remember, they all knew me. And they came and cleaned out the old yard we had and everything else, and had this whole party thing there in the country, outside cooking on the stove, on the wood burning. So I at that time it just hit me. I was like, this is such a beautiful place. You walk out there and you pick the mango, off the tree, June plums, star apple, coconut water, all these things. And so I just decided, I was like, since I found so much clarity in my spiritual feeling, and being able to let go of egos and everything else, PTSDs, anxiety, all these different things, and within that world. So I decided to I want to open a spiritual retreat down there, of which there's construction going on now. But so spiritual retreat is going to encompass meditations, shamanic breath work, ayahuasca, bufo is a frog venom from Peru, and that you use, and smoking goes into it. So it's basically psychedelic, and also different kind of meditations and stuff like that in order for you. And it really helps out with a lot of soldiers also with PTSD, and trying to get. So that's what I want to do. Plus, also doing that. Um, that little village is so near and dear to me, and when I go there, everybody's living so rich. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
They have their goats, they have their chickens, they have every single food that they need. Um, any kind of building material is on the land. All of these things, and they live such a beautiful, rich life. Something that I experienced at the beginning of my life, and I just wanted to recreate that and bring them some sort of currency for them to live. Like so cousins and stuff like that will run the bars and stuff like that in there, and the the river bamboo river thing going down there. I have cousins that I grew up with back then that is going to do the whole tour of that whole thing. So everything is pretty much coming together. I'm looking at probably November next year, end of the next year, to try and get everything on track with it. But if I bring people here into this country, this serene paradise,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon kind of feeling, with basically glamping. So I'm going to have things set up for the glamping experience. So you'll have your air conditioning and all that other stuff, and all your modern day amenities, Wi-Fi, everything else, and just go through the meditations, shamanic breath works. You want to have an ayahuasca experience? We'll have shamans there to guide you through these experiences. Also, like with Bufo, the guidance through those experiences. And it would encompass that you'll have your meals per day. You'll have your different sessions that you would want to do per day. The village is such a small, tight knit, extremely, and no matter what anybody has, extremely, extremely safe. That whole area is just not like Kingston or Negril and all these other places, is completely away from that. And so here, that portion is just locked away in time. Plus, I spoke to everybody in the village. Not like that was hard. And I was like, hey, we're gonna make some money. You want to make some money, right? You know what I mean?
Right,
Let's make
right.
it safe. And they're like, hell yeah. And so they all jumped on board. I had a huge meeting with them down there
That's
and talked.
awesome.
And so we're having so much accommodations for it. And they are down so much to help out with everything. It's just I couldn't have thought of something like that instant moment that when you're there and then magic hits you, that feeling of that area. And my grandmother's buried there. That was like my mother to me, because I didn't even
Mm.
know my mother until I came back to the United States. So my grandmother was my mother, and then when she passed away, she's on the land also. So it's just paying this huge homage
Mm.
to that area and making it shared. Like, and plus on top of that, the Chinese are infiltrating Jamaica, and they're doing all that. They're buying up so much land in Jamaica, and I just wanted to keep it coolie and keep it coolie down there. And the company. So and just pay homage to my people. They're beautiful people. I've never um I've been to so many different countries, so many different places and stuff like that. Even like say let's say like Colombia, which is like ugh for me. I can't do Colombia because there's just no magic there, and everybody's hustling to try and pull money out of you for something, whatever the case is. But in Jamaica, it's just everybody is like just so happy to see you. Like they'll give you like, oh, and they'll touch their chest. That's what I do too. From that, touch their chest and
Mm.
their heart, tell you like bless up to you, blessings, as you're walking by, and you could barely get a hey from somebody walking down the street here, and you don't know this person. They just I think propaganda messes up down there with
Mm.
how people view it, like oh it's unsafe or something like that. It's not. It's
That's a lot of
completely
places, though, right? I think that's propaganda, and the messages are what we're always undoing. But I love the way. I mean, one, you've completely sold Arcadia to everyone, because everyone in the chat's like, "Yeah, we're there. When does it start?" Right? So, Debt Marshall is like, "Awesome, can't wait." I see Maureen O'Mara. Welcome, Maureen says, "I can't wait." Jackie Cran, that's so awesome. And Logic, that sounds great. Yeah, like I think everything about that is beautiful, and it's the beauty of what you're envisioning and creating is building this, bringing in the community that already exists there, and creating this additional understanding of others coming there to experience the beauty of that community, but also to heal, right? And so coming back to that, because you mentioned that there's going to be, ayahuasca with shamans and bufo, right? What are the elements of those things? Because I know a lot of people, again, we talk about the matrix and we talk about people's consciousness and awareness, and a lot of people right away go to, oh, psychedelics, that's like something so bad. And, this is
yeah.
like a whole nother level. But it sounds like you're really seeing it as a way for healing and
Mm.
actually coming to understand ourselves better in order to be better. Um, so, how does that all play out together?
Well, first off, let's say bufo, ayahuasca, or shrooms. It's not recreational, so it's not like saying, "Oh, this bad taboo thing." Like, I guess, because marijuana has been held as taboo forever, even to this day, and marijuana is used recreationally. But
Mm,
these aren't that kind. So it's like, I mean, there are people that have been on the ayahuasca that has been addicted to heroin and all these other things, and one experience they're completely kicked whatever the habits that they've had before, and the clarity hits. And so it's this whole thing. You've probably heard about it a million times over. Even like say Joe Rogan, Mike Tyson, all these people talk about it.
mm,
But the DMT that's inside of it sparks off your God gene within your brain and the pineal gland, of which our pineal gland has been shrinking and shriveling up, and which is our basically our third eye, and being able to move out of the flesh and getting more into a consciousness and different dimensional rifts kind of thing. So when people take, let's say, the ayahuasca or bufo, it activates that God gene within you, and that and your pineal gland, and then you start going into your different psychedelic experience with it, and guided, though of course people are there to guide you through it. And
mm,
the biggest thing I could tell people that are going through it is just surrender to the medicine. And I call it plant medicine because the medicine that goes into your body, it activates, and then you'll start having so much more clarity. Especially bufo for me gave me the biggest clarity on the planet earth that I can have ever had, life changing. And it's not like I'm doing bufo like every 5 seconds. No, I've done it probably about once or
mm.
twice. And that really, that has really got,
So Josh says, I'll do it, but will it mess my pants?
oh no, not at all. You can go
Child
ahead.
Logic, that'll be our next retreat.
No, that's I.
Renters Network. Donna Bacon
But
says it will change the lives of those that visit, especially the soldiers. Yeah, Donna, I agree. I think that's definitely what I'm hearing. And for anybody really. So it's pretty transformative, and that's amazing. It's a lot of things that you've got planned here. And
what else?
I loved the. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't
So
hear what
what
you
else do
said.
I have to do? I'm like, I did my 24 years in this thing, and I made it through. So, oh my God, from getting shot and blown up at war, and having to go through the horrid craziness of war, and seeing children hurt, and that hurts me. And seeing all these different things, and we wonder about this world, and and everybody stays in their little bubble so much and stay within that same narrative of this BS going on here, that they cannot open their eyes to see what's really, really going on. I'm a very big person with factual things, and it's not anything dealing with conspiracies or anything like that. It's just some things that I've actually 100% visually seen, or either wrote up the operation order to get in there, and putting different things, the mission statements. I know exactly what is going on there. So, and I usually call that I coin a phrase, the Buzz Aldrin versus Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, and what I mean by that is, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson, smart guy. He theorizes about all these different things, and theorizes about space, and can tell you all these things about space. But Buzz Aldrin been in space, so if Buzz Aldrin tells me something about space that contradicts Neil deGrasse Tyson, I'm gonna listen to Buzz Aldrin because he's been to space and this guy just theorizes about it.
Mm,
So, for me, I've been there. Oh my God, you know, I don't know how much I could say, but like, from being in my top secret stuff and clearances and all these different things, it really opens your eyes. And I only advice I can tell everybody is to get out your bubble and open your eyes, because this thing is just, it's far more. You think it's so far fetched, you would think it was so far fetched, but it isn't. It is right in your backyard, and people just let it go. So it is what it is with those. I just hope that this spiritual awakeness that I'm trying to offer to the public and would take advantage of it. It's not anything about, let's say, let's make all this crazy money or do all this stuff, but just making the world better and having more like-minded people getting pulled out of the matrix and unplugging and seeing, going into a place where is just away from all of this crazy technology and everything else, and seeing the what the land offers, connect more there on that side, on the land, and connect with nature, Mother Gaia, and because Mother Gaia loves us, everything that we do is provided for us. You plant a seed, and then your food will grow. Everything is there, and the one entity, which is a living being, this Mother Gaia, that's giving us this beauty and abundance, we're ignoring. So if we connect more with that and be more on the vibration of here, and then we will pull ourselves out of these imaginary topographic lines that they drew into our land from the map. I'm not born in the United States. I'm born here on Earth. I don't pay attention
Mm.
to these imaginary lines that they've made up. The Earth is where I'm from, and that's it. But it's just really hard to push that, not push that, but to explain that narrative to somebody without them thinking that you're a weirdo or crazy.
Well,
You're
you've got
you're
some like-minded folks in the chat right now. Dialogic said facts, and yeah, I think there's a lot of folks out there that, again, I know my audience for certain is taking it in and hearing exactly what you're saying for sure. Phoenix says, Mario, have you done plant medicine yet? Have I done it? I actually have not. No, plead the fifth. Yes, for sure. No, haven't. But I look forward to at least experiencing some parts of the retreat. And the name of the retreat is called
keep it cool.
Keep It
Oh,
Coolie.
plums.
Keep It
Sorry.
Coolie. I
So
was like, wait, Keep It Coolie is your business, right?
yeah, business
The retreat is called
plums,
Plums.
plums with a Z at the end. I'm working the domain now. I have a domain, but I'm setting that up. But plums is so like June plum is what in Jamaica. It's sort of an indigenous fruit. June plum has a little spiky core. You can eat it ripe or green, kind of thing. So it was a huge thing for me. My grandmother, who I thought was my mother back then, was raising me there. And as all this stuff grows on that land, and she would go over and see like other kids running through the land stealing June plums, like not stealing, but just hell, it's fruit growing on the tree. Pick your tree, pick your fruit. But she used to get mad, curse at them. A little short, tiny, probably 4'11" Indian woman that's just cursing on the top of her lungs over and scaring kids. Kids run off, leave the plums on the ground, and she used to go down there and put it in her apron and come back to me, and she'd drop it in this pan and she would wash it, and then we'll just sit there together, and she'll peel all the ripe ones, the green ones, and we'll just sit there and eat the plums. And it's like this connection with my grandmother there, and since she's on the land, and it's just the plums is a homage to her and the beauty of the feminine divine that she bestowed on me, and yeah, just looking for that feminine divine in my partner sometime, somewhere out there. But I've never been able to experience that feminine divine later, within my life. But I look forward to that, and I'm so happy, and the most beautiful way, calling it blessed blessings, higher, self, just saying that to be able to experience a feminine divinity like that, and growing into my masculine divinity into balance, so that way it makes me a better man for my next betrothed, probably.
Well, that's beautiful though, and such an homage to your grandma. Like I love that you are bringing pieces of her to it, right? That she's on the land itself, she's buried there, her spirit is there. Her, you have that energy and that vibration, but also now you have you her name, not her name, but the name of the fruit that definitely reminds you of her. And I think we saw some video of that. I saw Just One Love from our Ranters fam. Welcome, Just One Love. Great to see you here. And I saw a comment. I don't know if it'll come back up in a moment. But thank you so much, Gregory. Last few things is you can find Gregory on Instagram as the Last Men of Men. Tell us a little bit about your name. Maureen says
Oh,
that was beautiful.
Last Man of Men. All right, so this is the funny one.
As you're talking about your masculinity, yes.
There's actually two things that resonates with me. Well, the last man of men, the reason why I put that is last underscore man underscore of, underscore in between each word. But last man of men is that just for me, understanding my masculinity of where I am in life and the things that I've been through and the knowledge that I have. And, whether it be, more masculine, but I could put a car together, and it doesn't matter if the car is broke. I could fix the car. I could do woodwork. I could do this. I cook foods. I do all these other different things, and I don't know. I just think that within today, the masculinity has diminished so much that a guy can't change a tire anymore. Just these regular traditional things. So I started saying "last man of men," because it's like we're so far and few in between anymore. Just as a masculine person anymore, it's just like, oh, it's so shunned these days to just be within that, and yeah. So that's the definition of last man of men. That we're a dying breed. It feels like, and I'm part of a club of where we still, I can still survive in the middle of a jungle somewhere and be completely fine and thrive. And it doesn't matter. I'm still a protector. I'm still a provider. And I just, as a man, and I'm very proud of that.
And I love that. And Doc, welcome, Doc. Daryl Howard says facts. And I would totally agree that, and I think that it's that, look, as a feminine, there's a dying breed of men out there for certain in that embracing of it. But what I appreciate is that it's not just the masculinity. It's that masculinity with all of the softness of the thoughtfulness, the consideration, the elements that you talk about when you talk about your relationship with the way you lead, right? So it's a balance of it all, which is important to maintain, right?
The balance for me I'm sure somebody's going to laugh about this, but the balance for me is my spirit animal, which is the silverback gorilla, is my spirit animal. I resonate with that animal so much. Not animal, this being. And the reason why, because for me, it's the epitome of masculinity. And it is such a balance of masculinity and femininity. Because the silverback gorilla is this huge, dominant looking force, huge teeth, muscles beyond muscles all over him. And he protects his troop. He has his troop, his family, and he's there, protects the children, protects the women, protects everything. And even still, like, known as, let's say, if there's a rogue child, baby gorilla from another troop, the women would shun that baby away, but the silverback, the male, would actually raise that child from beginning to end, to yeah, and comfort, nurture. There was one where he raised a female gorilla from baby all the way up into adulthood, and nurtured it. But then if somebody comes in and tries to hurt that troop, when the masculine will come out and just defend his troop to the death, so it that animal really resonates to me, and it shows such a beautiful balance of masculine and feminine nurturing. And they hold their own children, they play jokes on he plays jokes on the mother, carrying the child away, so there's so many different dynamics to it that is such a beautiful, beautiful energy. And so that's why I resonate so much with it.
I love it. And Just One Love says, I just smiled. I didn't laugh. You resonate, a silverback. Yes. And all of that. And Phoenix said, DJ Silverback. Yeah. And welcome, Phoenix. The other half of the wedding, right?
Yeah.
So I love it. Thank you so much, Greg. It was awesome to have you on and to share all the things you're doing. Definitely, we will keep following you on Instagram to the next updates of when Plums is going to be opening up, and we can all go and enjoy this beautiful retreat and learn more about this beautiful place in Jamaica and all of the amazing people that are going to be there. And the experience itself. So thank you. Thank you for all of sharing your stories. Thank you to, of course, my amazing producer, Mr. M, Logic himself, to all of our Ranters fam for showing up and coming in, and all of those supporters who are in the chat. We really appreciate all the great questions and the engagement. Thank you so much. And if you have not done it yet, please make sure that you go to right underneath here, you subscribe to this channel, that you hit the like button, and you get notifications for all of our episodes that come up. Pain to Power comes on every Sunday at 9 o'clock. And yes, if you have a Roku device, please add iRant to your homepage to catch the rebroadcast of Pain to Power featuring Gregory Alexander and many other dynamic guests that I have had over the years, as well as lots of our other Ranters Union fam and their shows. So please make sure you do that. Thank you so much, Jackie. Such a great interview. I appreciate you tuning in. Greg, you have the floor. You look like you want to say something.
Original Sour World New York City shirt from the artist Dorian Williams. And he makes these shirts to whatever way that you'd want to see it, or what inspires you, or if you want to get into getting tetrahedrons or Om signs or anything, Om Mani Padme Hum, whatever spiritual belief that you're within, he can design your custom shirts and whatever way you want to do it. So you can actually DM me on my Instagram, the last man of men _ in between each word, and let me know if you wanted to get anything.
I love it. Shout out to Dorian, and a great shirt. Thanks so much. And yes, please make sure. And if you haven't done it yet, go subscribe to my blog. I am going to be writing more. And I don't know, Greg, if you read the piece, but please go read it. And there's lots of other pieces. I talk about my own journey of healing, my story as a parent, as a woman, as a just the healing journey itself and relationships and all of the above. So please go and check it out. Subscribe, put your email in, like, comment, share, pass it along, all of the good things. So thank you again to everyone. Thank you to Greg, and have a beautiful evening. See you again on the next episode of Pain to Power every Sunday at 9 o'clock on Brown Girl Interrupting on YouTube, on the iRant Network on YouTube, and on the Ranters Union on YouTube. Peace, love, and light.
Man, that's kind of dope.
I try not to. All right.
Fasten your seatbelt, get you a good look up out the window. Second by second, the view will change if you didn't know. Things ain't as hard as it seems, you just don't know how strong you are. When the burdens get heavy, sometimes you forget that you're a star. Money gets low and depression starts to set in. It's just an illusion to make you think that you can't win. And I could never find the word that can make you go against your own will. But I just try to find something to say that can relate, cause I know how you feel. My hurt, my struggle, my pain. My mind gets lost in those things. My joy don't come easy, but this life was made for me. Can't shy away from my responsibility. Got people out here that's depending on me. I done ran through the fire, I done walked through the mud, all in the name of love. When I finished, they didn't hear me. Matter of fact, they won't come near me. Expressing yourself is a problem. When you expressing all your problems, can't lay your burdens on the weak. It took a little time for me to see. Now I got a better understanding. I make it rock, but I'm still standing. I give love and I love me. Can't hold back when I'm set free. I pray for my enemies, cause they know not and they can't see. Don't let no one steal your shine, and always protect your mind. That pain you felt, it was okay, cause it made for some better days. It made me thankful for the long nights. Made me thankful for the long nights. It made me thankful for the long nights. Made me thankful for the long nights. Long night, better days. God done put in work just to celebrate. I don't really want it if it come easy. And it's been pretty hard, yeah, please believe it. And I done came this far, I know he won't leave me. He made a promise and I know he gon' keep it. I done ran through the fire, I done walked through the mud, all in the name of love. When I meant it, they didn't hear me. Matter of fact, you won't come near me. Hey, come around. Expressing yourself is a problem. When you expressing all your problems, can't lay your burdens on the weak. It took a little time for me to see. Now I got a better understanding. I make it rock, but I still stand. I give love and I love me. Can't hold back when I'm set free. I pray for my enemies, cause they know not and they can't see. Don't let no one steal your shine, and always protect your mind. That pain you felt, it was okay, cause it made for some better days. It made me thankful for the long nights. Made me thankful for the long nights. It made me thankful for the long nights. Made me thankful for the long nights.
My world has slowly crumbled around me countless times, and every time I rebuild with the pieces I've been given to birth something so transformational and beautiful that no one else knew might exist before it was shown to them. These moments tend to coincide within my romantic path. The universe has been telling me to focus on the revolution and not romance. It has over time given me the tools, resilience, and light to turn my pain into power. And only now do I see that the key to this always resided in the love and knowing I had in myself, not from the external sources of family or men. The message I have been avoiding might be that my time in this world I had existed in was not to receive love, but to put it out there for others to see, feel, and heal through. Revolution before romance moves pain into power.